Welcome to another WakeMed guideline webpage and app quick take. Quick takes are short videos introducing you to new guidelines. Today we'll be discussing transverse process fractures. Remember, the guidelines webpage can be found at www.wakemed.org/SPG. It's mobile friendly and publicly accessible. Now, before we get started, I want to let you know about two new sections. The first is educational videos. Here you can find videos just like this one, archived and easy to access. We also have a new outside resources section. Here you can find links to high-yield websites like East, Western Trauma, Behind the Knife, Life in the Fast Lane, and EM Crit. We've also been real busy cranking out new content. We've got a number of new guidelines in the works, including rib fractures, pain management, antibiotics, retained hemothorax, blunt cardiac injury, non-op solid organ injury, cervical spine clearance, determination of brain death, and pulseless blunt trauma resuscitation. But today we're going to be reviewing the transverse process fracture guidelines. Transverse process fractures involve the transverse process only, meaning they do not extend into the lamina, the pedicle, the body, or the facet complex. Isolated transverse process fractures also don't result in any ligamentous injury and are therefore considered stable spine injuries. Transverse process fractures are also very highly associated with other spinal injuries or other fractures of the spine and other non-spinal cord injuries, spine injuries, things like intra-abdominal trauma, liver, spleen, bowel, etc., pelvic fractures, really anything else. And so for that reason, you want to maintain an extremely high index of suspicion for other injuries when you see transverse process fractures. And importantly, isolated transverse process fractures do not require surgical intervention or immobilization. Treatment is just pain control. So with that in mind, what do these guidelines actually say? Well, it's pretty simple. Number one, spine consultation is required for any number of isolated cervical spine transverse process fractures. Number two, consultation is not required for any number of isolated thoracic or lumbar spine transverse process fractures. These can be consecutive or otherwise, and it could be 5 of them. We do not need to consult. And third, outpatient follow-up can be offered with trauma surgery on an as-needed basis. That's it for today's WakeMed Quick Take. Thanks for watching.